Hey guys, thanks for joining me. And if you like what you see, please subscribe.
Hello, peoples. I will tell you off the bat, I'm a little reluctant making this video because I am not a knife steel expert. However, I do have some experience with these different ones, and all the knives that you see on the table, I have sharpened a version of their steel. And of course, heat treat says a lot about a knife. Um, S30V from Spyderco is a lot different than a knockoff company or a company that isn't heat treating like Spyderco does, and I totally understand that too. And that could have influenced my my liking or dislike of a steel. Having said that, though, I'm going to kind of rank these based on my personal likes. This is only my opinion. This is absolutely not an official list. These are just some of my thoughts about these different ones. I'm not sure where to start. Well, so I'll start at the bottom. Things that I think that are good, but so D2, D2 I think is a great budget knife steel. Not great, but good. If you're going to be spending less than $40, $50, then D2 is absolutely fine. It's definitely better than the alphabet soup type steels like the 8CR, etc. But but having said that, it's not like a large amount bigger than that. And this is the Ontario Rat, which is a great knife still, and I love having it in my collection. So I'm going to put that over here closer to the bottom. I guess I'm going to start over here, and this will be like the bottom. Um, Next, let's do the AR RPM number 9. So this is really powder CPM steel that is proprietary to Artisan Cutlery and CJRB. It is a step above 8CR. It doesn't have the longest edge retention in the world. Easy to sharpen though, and it does get really sharp. And if you just need a little pocket knife, then that's perfect. And this is a pyrite. Pyrite, rocks this steel. Absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with that, especially in the 50 to 100 or less than $80 range. I think there's nothing wrong with that. Next, I want to say 14CR, which I forgot to bring out a sample of that. So here is 14CR. So we'll say 14CR 28N. I think that this is a good steel. I think that this is probably the best steel you can get for under $100. It holds its edge for a really long time compared to all the other budget steel knives, and it is easy to sharpen and fairly tough. It's just a well-rounded knife steel, I think. So I'll put that right here. Next, I'm going to go with probably 154. Do I have a 154? Yeah, I do have a 154. It's the Urban Bowie. I think 154 is probably the cheapest super steel. I think it was one of the original ones, if not the original ones. But in its CPM version, it is absolutely fine, good to go. Rocking it. You'll find a lot of custom makers using 154. It's a fairly cheap steel, but has a really good composition. By the way, I suggest you go to your app store and look up knife steel. There's a very nice free app there that gives you some numbers about all these steels and their composites. And the guy who does it also sometimes has some notes about what he thinks about the knife steel in particular or its history. So we'll put that there. I think it's fitting. Well, no, I think I was going to say 3V, but actually what I'm going to say is S30V is, I think, my next favorite. It was the first steel that was really composed for pocket knives. And I think that, if I'm not getting my history wrong, Chris Reeves was the one who kind of worked with them to get it. I think it was what's their name? Crucible, I think, developed this steel with Chris Reeves. If I'm wrong, I'm so sorry. Yes, I'm an idiot. But very good, and this was a stepping stone towards making more steels just for pocket knives, and it was a really good moment. I think For Spyderco, if you get Spyderco S30V, you're good to go. There's other steels that are better in that price range, I think, and it's kind of been outdone. But by the same token, if yeah, I'm not ashamed of having S30V. Like having this Manix and S30V, I'm not ashamed to carry this and use this. Um, Next, I think I will go with 3V. 3V, and I actually, if I'm just talking about pocket knives, I think 3V falls next. If I'm talking about fixed blades, 3V is actually much higher on the list. So with that caveat, I'm going to say that 3V is a great, very tough steel. It takes a very nice edge. I can get it mirror polished pretty much, and it will retain that edge for a pretty good long time. And in its form, as far as a fixed blade is concerned, it's really tough, and it'll keep going and going and going, and I have no problem with that. We might as well continue the trend and just talk about A2, which, in a pocket knife form, I actually don't think I've ever seen a pocket knife made out of A2 personally. It would be way down here. But in a fixed blade form, this stuff is really good. And if it has a good blade geometry, like a Scandi grind, like this Genesis from LT Wright, I'm telling you, boy, this thing will stay sharp forever. Absolutely forever. And I totally appreciate it. So I'm going to put it right in the middle of the pack, even though as far as fixed folders are concerned, it's probably lower down. I still have a personal appreciation for A2, and I think that it's absolutely fine. I should throw out there that there's some steels that I am not doing. Like, I don't have a lot of experience with LMAX, so I'm not going to rate it, but I'm sure it's perfectly good. Cool. So next, what do I want to say? I think I'm going to go with S45. Absolutely good. The heat treat that Chris Reeves does on this knife is incredible. This knife is so freaking sharp, this Inkosi. I mean, it's just spectacular. I have no problem with S45. I almost didn't include it on this list because I don't have enough experience with it, but I went ahead and did, and I'm going to put it right next. And then we're starting to get down to some of the steels, which are some of my favorites. So I think that next on this list I'm going to have to say is M390. That's also 20 CV and 209 P. Those are the three different companies, Carpenter, Crucible, and blanking on the third one, but the three companies that make this formula of knife steel. It's good to go. I think it's a little overused these days, but having said that, it's a perfectly great steel, and you cannot you can't complain. If a knife shows up in M390, I think it's absolutely fine depending on its use and stuff. Yeah, it's a great steel. I have way too much of it. And I don't mind having, different things, different kinds of steel. So I kind of wish that some knife makers would just explore different knife steels. But, it is what it is. Next, I'm going to say ZDP 189. I don't have that much experience with it, but from what I can tell, it's absolutely a banger knife steel. It stays sharp forever. And it has a core, and then it has a really light inside. I don't have enough experience to talk about it that much. I like it. I like this slayback. I haven't sharpened it yet, and I hear that it's very hard to sharpen, but it does stay sharp forever. Next, I'm going to say LC200N. I've had several knives made out of this. It is very rust resistant, but it is not rust proof, is what I would say. You can get to a point, if you leave blood on it, or you leave it in the ocean for a very long time, you might get spots of rust. Having said that, I've sailed with this knife for a very long time, and it's still going strong. And the Spidey Chef is an awesome knife. Yeah, I can't say enough about it. It's a great steel, especially for a saltwater environment. And I have three knife steels left. I have S90V, Magna Cut, and Vanex. And I don't know how to order these. All three of these are knife steels that I absolutely love. And so I'm kind of randomly choosing which one goes above which one. Let's go ahead and say that Let's go ahead and say Magna Cut. I love Magna Cut. It is rust resistant. I don't think it's necessarily rust proof. I've had it rust and patina on me a couple of different times, depending on the finish that it's given. Having said that, it is a phenomenal steel, easy to sharpen, maintains an edge for a relatively long time, not as long as like S90 or Vanex even, but it keeps an edge for a very long time. And it's just all around utility, toughness, strength, everything. Like it's just such a well-rounded knife steel that's where I'm going to rank it. There is no, if you see a knife in Magna Cut, no reason not to pull the trigger. It is a good to go steel. I will say that a lot of people I think are heat treating it a little soft, and I wish that more people were heat treating it around 63 rather than 61. But you know, you just buyer beware, look at that and see what it's going on. I mean, some of the 61, 62 stuff is absolutely fine, but anything below 61 I think is just not acceptable. And that goes for all of these knife steels. I mean, hopefully the company that you're getting the steel from is heat treating it correctly. I don't have a press. I can't test the HRC, so I have to take their word for it, and I have to use experience. In general, I haven't gotten too much bad steel. I've gotten bad Magna Cut before. I've gotten bad S30V before. But, you know, in general, I think most companies are going to heat treat it okay. I just wish sometimes they would do the specs a little bit closer. And that leaves my final two. Got S90V and Vanex. I don't know which one goes above which, but let me just talk about Vanex first. I find it to be an extraordinarily good, versatile steel that's relatively easy to sharpen, maintains its edge forever, and is absolutely rust-proof. The other things I said were rust resistant. These are rust resistant, definitely good steels. You know, Magna Cut, LC200N is definitely more rust resistant than Magna Cut, but Vanex, in my experience, is absolutely rust proof. I have kept it in salt water for weeks at a time when I'm sailing, and the stuff just never gets rusted. And this particular knife, the Waypoint, has LC200N linings and titanium scales. This thing is good to go. I mean, it's a great knife to have in your life jacket or to go fishing with. I absolutely love Vanex. Maybe it also has to do with this grind, which is a hollow grind, but I've had other Vanex as well, and I really like it. And then finally, S90V. I know it can be a pain to sharpen, but if you use the right tools and you use the right techniques, it is possible to sharpen. However, you're not going to need to sharpen it because it is always sharp. This still has the factory edge from Golden, Colorado, and it is good to go. I love this steel. There's a way that you can actually sharpen it where you don't necessarily make it a mirror finish, but you make it a little bit toothier. And if you leave it just a little bit toothy, this thing is sticky. I mean, sticky sharp. That kind of sharp where, you know, you feel it go in and then it just tears through, just slices through, and it's a real beauty to watch it at work. I love S90V. So you can go ahead and roast me now and tell me how wrong I am and what I forgot. Like I said, this is not a complete list. This is the list of the steels that I know the best and that I've probably sharpened a couple of times at least. If I've left it off, it's either because I don't have experience with it or I just don't think it deserves to be on any list. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I really appreciate your time. And if you like this, please like and subscribe. You can also support me on Patreon if you want to. And I am going to be doing a big giveaway next weekend for my Patreon my Patreon supporters, who thank you so much for supporting me. I think I've got only like 4 or 5 of them, so they're going to get their own knife giveaway. And then the rest of the channel is going to get a knife giveaway for my 1,000 subscribers, which I just hit. I really appreciate all of your support. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you next time on Sharp Ends. Bye-bye now.